connect goals to a set of values, right? The classic line is we make time for what we value, and what we value we make time for. When our values aren't connected to our goals, they just become, objectives that are just easily to, pass over. So I think the challenge of a January is like having goal envy. Somebody else is like, somebody else is doing something like, well, I need to do that too.
It's true.
You ain't got no value for it, but you're just kind of like, I got to do that too.
Right.
You have to really root yourself in what are my values? What am I trying to accomplish for me and my leadership this year that would make the biggest impact on my organization? Or the biggest impact on my team? What's going to move like for instance, here, I'm connecting my goals of growing our church in a brand new space to the values that we have organizationally. We make room for new people, all these different things I can look. And now I can measure those things because they are connected to a value and not just because somebody over here on Instagram just put out, a 5-slide thing of the goals that I should have, right? So connect goals to a set of values.
That's good.
My next one is kind of, I alluded to it. I think you should have some faith targets that are, I think you differentiate between what's a goal and what's a faith target.
Yeah.
Faith targets are things that you're believing for, that you're praying about, that are out of your control. And I think there are things you need to release your faith toward and pray for and ask God for until you see it happen, or the Lord releases you from it, or something changes.
Yeah.
Things that that you're frustrated about, that you're hurt by, that you're struggling with. Could be a family situation, could be a financial situation, could be something with your health. And you just know this is just bothersome. I don't think this is God's plan. And I'm not going to write it down as a goal because it's out of my control. But I do want to pray about it. And it's sort of a goal because it's a target. It's something I'm praying about. It's something I'm being persistent about. I mean, Jesus told that beautiful story about the widow and the judge granted her request because she kept bothering him.
Right.
And I think Jesus said, basically, this is persistence in prayer. This is what you need to do. And so I think we, maybe the goal is to consistently pray about the things that that are on your heart or mind, instead of just, hit or miss. So that one's real simple, but just to encourage everybody, take those faith targets off of your goal list, make them faith targets, pray about them until something changes.
We did a season like that in our youth ministry at the Life Church at the beginning of last year. We called it the Year of the Impossible, and we said, let's pick one thing, everybody pick one thing that's impossible in your own strength that is possible with God, and let's pray for it all year. And the cool thing is you start to see God do some of the things that you're asking for, and it becomes a inspiring moment for everybody else that's still believing. And so it's a good example, I think, of faith target.
Yeah. I want to I think these things kind of go together. You already alluded to one about goals being written, but I think goals have to be reviewed consistently. Like, you can set goals and not even come back to them often enough. So it might be once a month. I think it needs to be more frequent. I think you need to remind yourself, like an athlete that has a goal, they're checking their body weight. They're checking how fast they're running that sprint. And it's something that's consistent to get to the point. So I think in our leadership, we need to be reviewing consistently. So every week I have a one-to-one with my staff members. And when I'm talking to my team, we go through, of course, it has alliteration. So I'm like, what are we partying about? What's the win? What's the thing that I want to measure how many wins? If you're like, well, I have nothing to party about. Well, what's going on in your area? Like, is that all right? Everything okay? What's a pain? Is there anything that you're struggling with right now? How are your peeps, which is your team? What's going on with your team? How's your pipeline? Is there anybody else in the pipeline for your team? And if you're telling me no, that's a problem.
Yep.
And then how's your pockets? Are you managing the finances that this organization is stewarding to you well? Are you in the red?
Very good.
So those are ways that we
look at. You just helped a lot of people right there with those those things. Yeah.
There goes your weekly staff meeting.
Yeah, go through them again, one-on-ones.
What are we partying about? Number one, you want to celebrate with wins. Number two is, what's a pain? What's causing you trouble right now in your area? How's your peeps? What's going on with your team? Your team feeling good? The next thing is, how's your pockets? Like, what's your finances?
Pipeline.
And the last one is, how's your pipeline? Is there anybody coming up?
Amazing.
And then, of course, I end with prayer.